probably by then. So that probably doesn't match up, but um also like early morning after it happened, there was a ride like shared between three men like with a taxi, and the taxi driver said one of the men like left some blood behind. Like he took him to train station and stuff. So they kind of think maybe that was him, but I would hope they had tested the blood that was left. But I couldn't find that if they did that or not. Um
Can you imagine
yeah,
sharing a ride with someone and finding out
right, that was
after
yeah,
that it possibly was?
right. Yeah, that would
That's
be crazy. I don't know how people end up sharing a ride though either.
in a taxi?
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
right.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
Japanese taxis in the early 2000s.
yeah. Me neither. There was also a sighting in Tobu Nikko Station, like train station in Nikko, which is like 3.5 hours away from Tokyo. So like someone was spotted at that station with a severe hand injury, and like the person went up to like a um what's it called? Like a gate attendant or something to like ask for help and stuff. And like the gate attendant said it was like so bad, like it was down to like the bone that they like couldn't really help, and they were like, you need to go to the hospital and stuff. So like they called that in because I guess that was like maybe 2 or 3 days after the murder. So the police did investigate that. And they also checked like all the hospitals in that area, but they didn't find anyone with like that kind of hand injury that had been checked in or that was currently there. So like that was weird that no one was there for them to interview or anything. Um but people are saying like if that truly was the killer and he went to Nico, I guess that's like in the mountains, and it's like people go missing in those mountains all the time. So if that was like his plan to like go missing, then you're never gonna find him. And he's probably like he could have just died out there too, I guess. So it might forever be unsolved if the person actually went to Nico. But Suchida said that this area they usually only saw like 5 autopsies a year. So it was like super rare that I mean they have a family of four that they have to like investigate now. So like every pretty much every single officer was investigating this case, and they were like putting all the resources into it. And there's also like not many cases in Japan where like a whole family is killed. So like I guess the superintendent general visited the scene himself like at the time, which was like the first time he's ever like done that for a case too. So like I think the police were really like tackling this. Like they weren't I don't know. Some people said they were being incompetent, but I don't think so. But yeah, so they had all these fingerprints, which I guess they were really excited about the fingerprints. So they ran those through their databases, which is like if anyone's ever been booked for any crime, like even if they weren't actually like in trial or anything, their fingerprints are going to be there. So there was no match to this, which sucks because that's they thought this would be like someone would come up and it'd be solved right away. Um and so they also like fingerprinted every single person that was close to this family. They fingerprinted every single person that went through the cram school. I guess the park by them had a skate park, so they fingerprinted like all the skateboarders that are usually there, and none of those matched either. And also, like, apparently in Japan, there's a law that prohibits police from looking at like DNA databases to like look for like close matches to like fish for suspects. So like they weren't as excited by the DNA left because I guess they can't use like 23andMe, like stuff like that, to find like family members and stuff. Which that sucks. Like why can't they just run it through there? But I guess that's the law. Um and I guess the DNA investigation is still within like an internal department there, so they can only ever reveal like if something matches or doesn't match, like as they run through people. So there hasn't been any DNA matches either. Um, but I guess their DNA database is also like extensive. Like I guess they collect DNA for like every single person that ever is arrested as well and stuff. Like even if it's for like petty things, and even if they're like let go and proven innocent later, they keep the database. Like they keep them in there.
Oh.
So like even as they collect more people, like throughout the years, no one has been a match yet through that either. Um, but I guess so the South Korean government has all of its citizens' fingerprints on record because I guess like every person that turns 17 in Korea gets fingerprinted and that's like stored forever too. So they were able to run the killer's fingerprints with that database. So like Korea did cooperate because some people said South Korea did not cooperate, but they did. And that didn't have any matches either. So it kind of threw a kink in the idea that it was someone from Korea, South Korea.
Do you think, okay, based on all of this evidence, do you think it could have been someone from the US military?
Yeah, so that is a theory. We're gonna get to it, but that's kind of what I'm thinking for sure after I looked at everything.
I mean, the evidence points that way, but it could point a lot of other ways too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like nine main theories, which is are like a lot, but we'll go through those. But yeah, I feel like
Okay.
either military or like someone Japanese who never committed a crime, because I guess Japan only has like fingerprints from people who were ever like arrested or what suspected or whatever. So like if the person stayed under the radar the rest of their life, then it could still be like a Japanese person too. Um, but yeah, I assume since they thought this could be like someone as young as 13, like I or 15, not 13, 15. I assume they like checked the Korean database later since they only fingerprint people like 17 and older. Like I assume they've checked periodically since then, but they haven't had any matches. Also, I guess every single foreigner who enters South Korea also is fingerprinted and that's stored for life. Like anyone entering South Korea, which I don't remember
Even,
fingerprinting.
yeah, I was going to ask, is it like to live or just to visit?
I
That
think
would
it's
be
just to
something to
visit.
look into.
I,
That's,
from what I heard, it sounds like anyone that comes into South Korea for any reason, like any foreigner, you get
I
fingerprinted.
could see the benefit of that.
Yeah. So since that didn't come up as a match, it kind of ruins the idea that it was someone, like even if it was someone who traveled to South Korea to get those shoes, they would have been fingerprinted. So, but yeah, I don't personally remember giving my fingerprints when I visited. Would have to think back. I don't know. Also, apparently, since 2007, in Japan, it's also required now for any foreigner visiting to provide fingerprints. And I don't remember doing that either. Although the first time I went in Japan was in high school, so maybe they only do it like that one time because I was already there. So, like, I
Oh.
mean, high school is a long time ago now at this
Do
point,
they
so
have a database where they keep track of that?
yeah, apparently they have a database of every single person and their fingerprints that comes
There
into
are
the
definitely
country.
benefits
Right.
to doing
Well,
that.
yeah, I feel like we do, don't we? Or no? I don't know. I feel like maybe this is pretty common.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. But like apparently if this person is a foreigner, they never went back to Japan since 2007 because that it's never been entered again into the database to match. So I guess if it was someone just visiting Japan, they haven't gone back. Japan also ran the fingerprints through Interpol, which they have a database of like all the criminal, not maybe not all the criminals, but like criminals from around the world, and they scanned it with that, and there were no matches there either. So like this person has never committed a crime apparently, besides this, or at least hasn't been caught again. I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't find if the US has cooperated because like since South Korea did, I don't know if the US like ran it through like our databases because if it was a military person, they'd have their fingerprints. So I don't know if the US has cooperated or not. I couldn't find that. And also like since some people said it was like Chinese person too, since that marker is in like 1 in 10 Chinese people, but I doubt China has cooperated. Like they're not in good relations or anything, so like they haven't been able to run it through there, but they ran it through like everything they could think of, and there have been no matches. At least not yet. The police also apparently, I guess, they checked every single hotel that was around the area too, because I guess, you book into a hotel, you have to give your ID and stuff, and so they were checking that too, but they didn't find any leads there either. So, and a few months like after the murder, I guess in April 2001, I guess it was on like the 100th day, like after the murder. But someone went to the neighborhood and they left like a 2 foot tall Jizo Buddhist statue, which those are like guardian deities for children. And they like specifically protect like the spirits of children who have passed away. So like some people, I mean, people think it's someone close to the case that like put it there. And some people think like the murderer went back and put it there, but like I don't think it was the murderer that did that. Like I think it was like maybe a family member or friend or something for like a memorial. But no one knows who put it there, I guess though. But um so the current reward for information, like there's still a reward, and it's 20 million yen, which is the largest in Japanese history, and that's like $145,000. So there's still, if anyone has any information, they can still give it to the Japanese police. But yeah, there are 9 main theories, so like we can get into those. So the first one is a robbery gone wrong. So the case is still like classified as a robbery homicide, so I guess that's still like technically the running theory. Like they haven't reclassified it, but like some people don't really like this theory because the neighborhood, I guess, was close by to like a more affluent neighborhood. So it's like, why would you go after this house instead of someone in that neighborhood? But I guess like robbers don't necessarily go after like the richest looking place. Like they go after a place that seems easy to get in and out of and like secluded, which this was definitely more secluded.
I was going to say, was this easy to get in and out of
Well,
though?
right. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, there is speculation of it was this actually easy because a lot of the windows did have bars and stuff. But I guess if you're just looking from the street, maybe it looks easier till you get to it. But then you'd think if a robber suddenly decides, like, oh, this is actually not easy, they would leave. Like, they wouldn't keep going in and then kill them all. Like, robbers don't typically do that. So I don't really like the
Typically,
theory,
no.
but yeah, well, there was also, I guess, a theory that they had sold their house already to the park and had like relocation money. And so someone maybe had heard that and thought that money was in the house, which I don't know how much it was. I feel like it was only like $20,000 or something. I mean, I guess that's a lot, but enough to like break in and kill them all. Like, and then they still didn't take like all the money that was found there. So that doesn't really make sense. Because yeah, I guess if they broke in and was looking for that money and then they got mad because they couldn't find it and then they killed them, I guess. But that just seems a little far fetched. Or why kill the kids too?
Yeah.
Still,
Exactly.
yeah,
But
I don't know.
$20,000 can be a lot to some people.
Yeah, yeah, and some people like criticize the police for this because a lot of the police are like more like middle uh class or like upper middle class, so they like think like, oh, it's only that much money or whatever. But it's like, no, that's a lot of people, like a lot of money for some people, and like people get desperate, and but still, like, I guess if people witnessed them, they'd want to kill the witnesses, but like the mom and daughter were asleep in the attic, and the son was asleep. Like, why would you kill them still? Like,
Desperation makes people do irrational things sometimes.
Yeah.